For today's cup of coffee, we have something that's wonderful because this was one of our viewers who submitted this story.
Yes.
We love that when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And this person wants to remain anonymous, which is perfectly fine by us.
Yeah.
You don't have to, that's an honor for somebody to share their experience.
Mm-hmm.
And she had entitled this, My Friend Max.
Oh.
So we're going to find out about Max. And this person writes, I met a very nice couple who I will call Mike and Jane to keep their anonymity. I would visit them often. They had a lovely meditation group that I would attend, read tarot, and study how to do psychic readings. We would always socialize after the classes and chat about our meditations. So it's always fun to have something like that you can talk about experiences.
Yeah.
And they had 2 dogs, a large one, not sure of his breed, whose name was Max, and the other was a little poodle-looking type named Sasha. You probably would have liked Sasha.
Little poodle. I don't like poodles.
Well, it's a poodle type, looking like poodle.
If it's a Chihuahua,
No, but she didn't say it was a Chihuahua.
That's what I'm saying. If it was a Chihuahua, yeah, give me the
Well,
poodle
it may
now.
have been a Chihuahua because she says Sasha was very neurotic and energetic, and we constantly had to calm her down with lavender oil. I didn't know you could use that with pets.
I like pugs too.
And it says as soon as she smelled the lavender, she immediately calmed down.
Yes.
We'll have to remember that.
Well, that's a lot of people.
It works with small children.
It works with some adults too.
I don't.
You don't like calming.
I don't do well with lavender. And it says every time I went to visit or take a class there, both dogs would immediately start barking and rush to me, wanting attention and to be patted and loved. I could barely get myself seated before I was buried in an avalanche of excitement by my new pals. As puppies that somebody knew. They're like small children. They really are. It's like, oh, new people.
New people, new puppies.
The cats don't do that. The cat's white.
Not voodoo.
We all know she comes and hisses at people. So
She doesn't hiss at anyone.
not anymore.
She doesn't hiss at any person. She doesn't hiss at any person. Now the other cats, yeah.
So it says, my friend used to laugh and say, look at him. Max is in love with her. And Max used to immediately back himself up to me and want Reiki done on his hips. I would place my hands on the dog's hips and direct the energy to help his aches and pains go away.
Aww.
So it's very kind. And this was a weekly affair of Reiki for Max, and having to give an equivalent amount of attention to little Sasha, who loved to jump into my lap and let me pat her. She was always wriggling and squiggling around, attempting to lick my face.
Yeah.
And it's like dog love. It's like, no, I've seen where your face has been. Get that away from me. They are.
You're nasty.
They really are. And it says that when she finally got down, she would run in circles so fast that I think she was taken off in flight. Maybe it was some
helicopter cat.
Maybe it was some
helicopter cat, helicopter dog.
Maybe it was a curly-haired chihuahua. We would go to the living room along with the other students, and Jane would light some copal, which is a tree resin type of incense. And Mike would put on his favorite music. Sasha would start getting excited, so Jane would let her smell the lavender, or we would have never been able to have the quiet meditation. Sasha would jump on the sofa, spin around and bark as if she couldn't wait for something to happen. But after the lavender, she would finally settle down, lay down, and relax as we meditated. Okay. Meanwhile, Max would come and lay down at my feet and never leave me.
Aww.
And Mike would give a recitation of a beautiful guided meditation, after which we would relax, have some wine and snacks, and discuss what we saw during our meditations. Afterwards, I would do a card reading or two for some of our guests, and then practice doing psychic readings by holding onto people's hands and telling them what I saw. Learning to do psychic readings was a very strange journey for me, period. During the first reading, I felt someone spiritually come into my body. I relaxed as much as I could and understood that the entity was that of an elderly man who I could fully describe, the way he moved, what he wore, and the feelings I got from his presence. I couldn't hear what he said, so I didn't seem to have the gift of clairaudience. And you know what clairaudience? Should we explain what clairaudience? You've heard of clairvoyance?
Sure. Uh-huh.
Clairaudience is being able to hear things, is just see or know things.
Yeah.
So some people have all of them together, and that's okay. And she says that I read for another guest that evening as well, and while it was very lovely to have contact from their family members, I wished I could have heard what the spirits were trying to say. And so the family members was deceased family members.
Yeah.
So, and then we go back to Max. Max would follow me wherever I went. If I went to the restroom, he would sit outside the door. Max had become my shadow.
Aww.
I was going through some difficult times at that point in life, so Mike put a page for Max on Facebook.
Aww.
And perhaps so that I could talk to my new best friend. Sometimes I would say hello, but part of me thought it was a little strange to be talking to a dog on Facebook. But I suppose it wasn't any more strange than feeling the spirits of people's deceased relatives come into my body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, they have spirits too. They really do.
Sure they do. And the visiting of these friends and giving Max his Reiki was quite a regular affair, but at a certain point I began meditating on my own at home. One day after meditation, I was resting on my bed. I was nearly asleep when I suddenly felt a big plop on the end of the bed. Whatever it was, it made a depression, and I felt the bed go down and then up again. I never had experienced anything like that before. It was as if something big had jumped onto my bed.
It's the Doge.
And
It was the Doge.
And while it did startle me a bit, I sensed that it was safe. I thought, hello, and since whatever it was seemed to be at rest, I fell asleep, but later wondered what it was. When I next spoke to Mike and Jane, I found out my dear friend Max had passed away.
Oh, so I visited him.
I believe Max came to me.
Sorry, I'm tired.
I believe Max came to me to visit me that unusual night and plopped on my bed to let me know he was going home.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And so thank you so much for letting us share that encounter. That's a very special one. And when you've got experiences with pet spirits, that's just, yeah.
And that honestly reminds me of an experience that I had with when one of my dear cats got hit by a car or something like that, because I tend to love stupid. I tend to love the stupid animals. But she got hit, and I was upset that day. I was really upset. And so I crawled up into my bed, and at that point I was staying in what used to be my brother's room. Now it's like, so when Spleen died, it was like, I was really upset, so I went into my room, and I laid down, and then all of a sudden it felt like something crawled up behind me and like curled up behind my back and like laid down there. And so like I'm like, hello, and I reached back there to like pet whichever one it was, because we had multiple, and nothing was there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, huh, it must have been Spleen. Must have been Spleen being like, it's okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if we have ghost kitties.
I would like that.
There's been times that I'll be, asleep or whatever, and it feels like a cat has crawled up on the bed. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing, because usually when they're in there, they will curl up next to you, and if you move, sometimes they'll get to where you can't even move. Mm-hmm. And you're afraid to disturb the cat, or I'm afraid to disturb the cat. And yet, nothing. I've even turned on the lights and stuff before, and it's like nothing. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Now, you had another experience about, you had sort of like a vision of a deceased pet recently, didn't you?
I ain't going to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about that one? still too close.
Yeah, no.
Too frequent.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time it brought you comfort, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it still does, but I'm just not willing to share that just
Well,
yet.
and that's okay. That's okay.
So
if you didn't want to talk about it, I wouldn't have brought it up had I known.
yeah.
But people and pets and animals and stuff like that having, paranormal and supernatural encounters with that's a very, I don't want to say a sacred thing, but it is a very special thing. It's a bond that is totally different than a bond with people.
Yeah. It is. It's a completely different bond, and it's something other.
Yeah, it is something other. It was very well expressed. So, but viewer, thank you so much for letting us share that.
Yeah, that was honestly a really cool story. It really was.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Sorry it took me so long.
Mm.
Because it's just, yeah. It's been this year. It has just been rough for everybody. And it's not over yet.
Years, no.
It's not over yet.
We got an animal visitor right now. Hello,
yeah,
hello.
but this one's still
alive.
Yeah. And hopefully will be for quite some time.
Yeah.
So if you've got experiences with the paranormal, supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, beloved pet stories, local, regional, or family myths or legends, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the link will be in the description box. And, if you want to share a story and have it as far as a video, just give me consent when you send the story. And if you just want to share it, just want somebody to share the experience and not have it made into a video, that's okay too, because we've had people do that.
Yeah.
If you need prayers, that's another one.
Yeah. We'll give you the prayers.
Because we actually do pray for viewers. We pray for the trolls. I really do. I was going through the house today and I'm like, Lord, help these people. If they just, for whatever reason, to take up the time to say something ugly to somebody. Or to,
something.
Like I said, for me, that is a call for help. That's a call for prayer.
Mm-hmm.
All they had to do was ask.
Yeah.
Know that you're loved, because I think a lot of us need to know that during these times. It's been a hard season, folks. I mean, y'all very much know that.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody that's very dear to me today, and it's like everybody we know is going through stuff. Hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we extend the offer. If you need somebody to listen to you, just send us an email.
Yes.
So,
if you like this video, don't forget. Did you do the cup of coffee with Scream thing?
Yeah.
Okay. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Thank you all. Have a good, and we'll see you all on the next one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We will see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.